Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're getting a look at the new Transformers War for Seibertron Earthrise Galactic Odyssey Collection, Dominus Criminal Pursuit. This, like the other Galactic Odyssey toys, is a multi-pack released exclusively through Amazon here in the States that just kind of helps flesh out the greater Earthrise toy line and is also themed around one of the different planet worlds in the Transformers mythos. In this case, it's the planet Dominus, which is really just a new name for the planet Master, because Master is just kind of a clunky name for a planet in English, honestly. This particular set contains 2 deluxe class figures. You get the Earthrise Barricade, which is a redeco of the Earthrise smokescreen toy. And then you also get Punch-Counterpunch, the Autobot to Decepticon spy. And that toy is a redeco of the Power of the Primes Punch-Counterpunch, also released exclusively through Amazon, but without the Prime Armor or Little Prime Master. So it's definitely one of the odder sets. It contains 1 Earthrise toy and then 1 older figure. So there are going to be some differences in scale and engineering that makes this, kind of a strange set. So if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll see everything inside, get a quick look at the figures, the instructions, the planet tech spec card, and then we'll get an in-depth look at the toys themselves in both their vehicle and robot modes. Naturally, I'll be doing a few group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So the box is what you come to expect from the Galactic Odyssey toys. It's in the same style as the Generation Selects figures, but a little more specialized. Get the War for Cybertron logo here, the symbol representing the planet Dominus with some cool hexagonal grid work going on. You get this, you get Dominus right here in Ancient Autobot. The name of the barcode. You get a sticker, and I don't know why, but the front of this box looks really banged up and dirty. You can see wrinkles on the stickers, some dirty spots. That's weird because it came in a shipping box. The box itself, the outer box, didn't appear to be damaged, but who knows? Here's the wraparound for that symbol. Get your logo up here again. Some legal stuff. That's it. These boxes aren't the most exciting thing in the world. Okay, I've cut the label, so let's open this up. Alright, so we get the nice fully printed interior that we've come to expect from the Galactic Odyssey toys. So you got the different planets that are represented in the collection: Micron, Botropolis, Dominus, Biosphera, and Paradron. And we got our plastic tray here that contains the figures. That'll stay open. There you go. So, you got Barricade on the left, Punch-Counterpunch on the right, and they look like a pretty nice pair. You can see again, I mentioned the scaling difference. I'm going to talk about that because this guy is significantly taller than this one. But you can see that. See the new colors and all that. Nice gold paint on the gun. I really dig that. Then we get our instructions. Pretty cool looking. You get renders of both the toys on the front here. You get the name of the collection. You get an kind of glitchy looking Autobot symbol back here. Dominus symbol. And some print work of the galaxy map that you can kind of hardly make out. Autobot / Decepticon symbol here, since it's a multi-factional 2-pack. Alright, so it looks like the front covers Barricade. So this beginning part shows you how to install his weapons, how to store his rifle, or how to combine everything. Then you get your transformation to police car mode. And alright, this is cool. So they separate the other instructions into just Counterpunch. So it's his transformation from Counterpunch to his Punch form. And then here, his transformation from Punch to the vehicle mode, and then weapon storage. And again, there is no Prime Armor or Prime Master. They excise those from this new pack, so I don't know, kind of good, kind of bad. I always felt they were kind of clunky and out of place for the first release, but it also does mean you're getting less for that 20 bucks, so keep that in mind. And lastly, we get our planetary tech spec card. Oh, look at that. That's cool looking. All right. So here's the front of it. Nice picture of Dominus right there. Symbol again. Turn this around. These are weird because they like go across in each language. Top one's English, so it's called the Disaster Planet. Terrain, mainly desert. Sector Allied. Coordinates, Zone 3. District 1110, looks like. Aspect 14. Known hazards, unpredictable sandstorms, acid rain, and blizzards. Primary life forms, Dominions, Seibertronian refugees without the ability to convert. So yeah, that definitely plays right into the mythology of the Planet Master from the Headmaster's cartoon. Resources, ultra-advanced technology. Key data, inhabitants are small in size. Transsector bodysuits required to protect themselves from the planet's harsh conditions. So it's very cool. They're very much calling out, the whole Headmaster thing, despite this pack containing no Headmasters, and nothing so far in War for Cybertron does. Though there were the Headmasters released as part of that Retro Headmasters line, so I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to tie into this loosely, be in continuity with it, or what, but they do call them out, so that's pretty neat. Okay, and now we get to see our two guys in their vehicle modes. So Barricade on the left, Punch-Counterpunch on the right. And you can see the scaling between these two, just in their vehicle modes, is quite different. Punch's car mode is significantly larger than Barricade's little police car mode. And again, it's just a function of different scale between the Prime Wars trilogy and the War for Cybertron trilogy. And, it's kind of annoying. It's something I've been griping about since they started War for Cybertron. This just kind of universal downsizing of everything. Because then it makes your collection feel disjointed, right? Everything that came before now feels too big, or everything that's new feels too small. And, it really highlights it right here, where you're releasing these two in the same toy line, right? Like, they're supposed to be part of a series, and they're really not lining up very well so far. And this is just the vehicle modes. So, it's kind of my little gripe about that. The vehicle modes themselves, of course, are fine. Barricades is the same Datsun style as all of the other guys that share this mold. And he looks really cool with the kind of purple blasters on the hood. Nice gold blaster on the top, though admittedly a bit gaudy looking. Sadly, there's no storage for them. They just have to be wielded on top like this. And then Punch's vehicle mode. It's okay colored. It's got this rather metallic blue, and it has a yellow stripe running down along the bottom of it. Doesn't roll well, and the other version I have doesn't either. Just real clearance issues underneath. Even when you try to push everything in place real well, it still just kind of drags. So I wouldn't recommend skidding this across a rough surface. You'll probably scrape some paint. And there's a lot of paint down here to scrape, you can see. So just be careful with it. Not the most well-executed vehicle mode. For Barricade's first comparison, here is the Siege Barricade toy, which represents a Cybertronian vehicle mode for the character. And, they have the same overall aesthetic, mostly black, white decals on the doors with, police or, Cybertronian police font, I guess, right here. This toy, being part of Siege, has a lot of battle damage. See it right here, on the hood mostly. And a bit of an eyesore. Not the most well-executed battle damage. The Earthrise one doesn't have that, luckily. They do both have the kind of dark gray or, faded black thing going on the hood, which gives it a little bit more color breakup. Though, whereas his extends to the back, his doesn't. You'll also notice that they swapped out the purple glass color for more of a kind of a light gray or just clear. So not crazy about that. I really like the purple. I mean, it would have been a little bit less realistic, sure, but it was kind of Barricade's thing, right? Even his wheels are purple. The black and purple thing just worked really well for him. This guy's colors are quite a bit more muted. And I don't know, I mean, it's okay for what it is, but I would have preferred something like this. And yeah, You know, they make for a good pair. One is just pre-Earth, one is, you know, in Earth mode, though, again, doesn't make much sense for it to be in Earth mode because, according to the fiction around the set, they're not on Earth yet. But, you know, that's been the whole conundrum of Earthrise from the get-go, is that it's all about Earth modes, but doesn't take place on Earth yet. So, you know, if that hasn't bothered you by now, there's no point in really focusing on it anymore, you know? Here we get to see Barricade with his mold mates. So his most direct mold mate is Smokescreen. Though you can see Barricade utilizes a light bar that is part of the Prowl version. And then this Prowl / Blue Streak version is shared between these two. Same head sculpt, same vehicle body. So overall, this does make Barricade the most complete out of all of them. Because he has the light bar that these two lack, but he also has the shoulder cannons or hood cannons that Prowl lacks. Which, again, why do they keep doing that with Prowl? Why do they keep shorting him with the shoulder cannons? Just include them with the Prowl toys, and if people don't want it for cartoon accuracy, they can just leave them off. It's that easy. But you can see pretty good variety here with the colors. Obviously, these two share pretty basic primary colors between like gray and black, but it's broken up differently. He's more predominantly black, whereas he's more predominantly gray or silver. And yeah, it just makes for a nice variety. Plus, it's good to get another vehicle that utilizes the more racing style body from Smokescreen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and transform Barricade now. If you want to see that process, go ahead and check out Smokescreen's review where I cover the transformation. I'm going to leave it out here for time's sake. All right, here we go with the robot mode. And this guy just looks awesome. The gold on his face really pops. The whole helmet design is just really, really cool looking. He looks like he jumped right out of a cartoon. And, you know, the gold gun is a nice touch. Again, just helps it really stand out. It's got, you know, again, pretty plain colors overall for his body. You know, it's just pretty much black and a very pale purple. So really it's the head and the gun and everything that really help him shine. But I really like it. I like the way this turned out. Of course, his tolerances are still great. No issues there. And yeah, I think it's really cool to get a plastic form for what was a concept drawing by longtime Transformers artist Guido Guidi, where it was just basically, you know, a palette swap Smokescreen. And then, you know, it got kind of made into a reality with the Siege toy, but of course the proportions were all crazy because it was an alien design. And now we've kind of come back full circle to something based directly on that drawing, an Earth mode Barricade. Of course, the drawing only had one shoulder cannon on it, but that might have just been to not, you know, block his face. So, you know, I don't know. If you really want to recreate that, you could always take this off. There you go. A Guido Guidi original right there. So yeah, I think this guy looks absolutely fantastic. Love the way everything comes together on him. And I don't know, it might be my favorite use of this mold. If, you know, at least one of my favorites. Here is the aforementioned Siege version. And again, they're very similar in color. I still wish that this guy would have gone with the purple glass just to help him stand out from the other Datsuns, but minor nitpick. I've noticed that the gold on this guy's face, and a little bit here too, it's a bit duller. It's not quite as shiny, a bit, you know, more tarnished looking, which kind of fits that Siege aesthetic pretty well. And I want to say that his pale purple is a little bit darker than this guy's, but overall you can still easily tell they're the same character. And seeing these two together just kind of reminds me how much I really enjoy the proportions on the new version more. Even though I absolutely hate this thing they did where, you know, most of like the Siege characters got an Earth update or are getting an Earth update. I gotta say that by revisiting this design and doing a completely new mold, they really improved on it. I know a lot of people weren't psyched about the Siege Datsun toys. And though I found them serviceable, now getting an improvement like this, which really just comes off again as that mini masterpiece aesthetic that people keep crediting War for Cybertron with. I'm happy these exist. Then lastly for Barricade, we get our robot mode group shot with the other Datsuns. And, you know, I love this group shot. Like, I love getting these sets of characters, whether it's like Datsuns, the Lambo brothers, the Seekers. Like, yeah, it is repetitive. It is, you know, less uniqueness amongst different toy designs. But sometimes it's just fun to collect a set of characters with, you know, small differences between them. I do wish that the fiction, both the new cartoon and the comics, had delved more into Barricade's time as an actual legit police officer and not a Decepticon enforcer. And just see his fall from grace. Would have been really cool to see a time where like he and Prowl worked together very closely. And, you know, maybe he was more hot-headed, but he wasn't like completely corrupt yet. But alas, don't know if they're ever going to go that route. So we'll just have to headcanon, you know, some adventure these four had together where they were fighting against the threefold spark or something. Okay, moving on to Punch. You can see him here with his original Power of the Primes version. And you can see they have quite the color difference between them. The old Punch is done up in a much darker blue, and he lacks the yellow striping along the side. But where he loses that, he gets the red painted rims, which look a lot better than just the unpainted black. He obviously has this extra accessory because, you know, he was kind of shoehorned into the Power of the Primes line despite not having any real compatibility with it. So, you know, they just kind of slapped this on him, but yeah, that's fine. They both do have the painted taillights, which is awesome. He does get this little like silver vent painting that the new toy lacks. And then on the front, they both have this little front area painted, but he gets a two-tone thing, and he also gets all this done up in silver. So, as far as the car mode, it's kind of a trade-off. Personally, I prefer the colors on the old toy, especially the red rims. I think it just makes it look a lot more premium. And as I already mentioned, neither one of these things rolls worth anything at all. This guy really drags, and this dude, he's just kind of coasting on his underside, so yeah. Don't drag them around too much. You're going to scrape them up. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing I did for Barricade. I'm going to do the transformation. If you want to see that in its entirety, be sure to check out this guy's review so you can get a nice thorough breakdown of the transformation. Okay, here is Punch's robot mode, and this is kind of where everything falls apart. So, you see this really nice pose I got him in? Well, that won't last. It turns out this guy is a floppy mess. His legs, or his hips specifically, are super loose, just flop around. His shoulders, they don't want to like stay up, they just kind of flop. You gotta lift them up pretty high to get them to kind of stay. And then the other issue, got his head facing the side, right? You might think that's for posing. Well, not so much. Let me put his head straight. Oh. Oh. It doesn't want to stay neutral. So this thing is molded in a way to where I can't even get his head to just like look forward without it wanting to turn in different directions. So, yeah, that's real big problem here. Here's the backside for anyone who wants to see that, by the way. And you might be thinking like, oh, well, you know, sometimes, you know, the QC is not great. Why is it that big a deal? Well, we pull out the Power of the Primes version again. This guy is solid. Look at that. Legs are solid. Shoulders lift up. They stay up. Like, doesn't have the head problem. Very, very smooth. So, there's a massive downgrade in quality. And that's really disappointing because lately I've been able to say about pretty much every retool or redeco that there hasn't been any like serious mold degradation present. But this is the first time in a while where, you know, you're getting a new version of a mold and the QC on it is just terrible compared to the old one. And, you know, I could see if this is something that got heavily reused, right? Like Seekers or something. But no, these are the only two uses of this mold at all. So personally, I find it really egregious. It's like, I mean, this was a pretty limited run as is because it was an Amazon exclusive also. And yet we can go ahead and have, you know, a billion Seekers out there and they're all nice and tight and work fine for the most part. So yeah, I feel like they really dropped the ball on the QC here because this guy should not be so hard to work with. I mean, it's just the second use. Like, I don't know what went wrong. Maybe it's just my copy. I hope it's just mine. But it's so bad, I have a feeling there's just no way it is. Like, it's so prevalent. There's got to be a bunch of loose ones out there. And I really hate that. That should not be the case. So just something to keep in mind. If you're looking to get this guy because you didn't get the original, you might be very disappointed with what you do get because the QC is just not nearly as solid as it was on the first one. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and switch him to the Counterpunch form now. All right, here's Counterpunch. And all the QC issues that were prevalent in the Punch form, they're also present here. Can't get his arms to raise up well at all. It's actually worse here because of weight distribution. You got more weight pushing down this way, so it's just kind of pushing his arms back down. Legs are still floppy. Head still doesn't want to sit straight. So, yeah, I mean, it's still just a huge disappointment. Unfortunately, you know, it's such a great mold, and it's just ruined by these QC issues. It has tons of posability, lots of play value. Make sure to fold that down too, by the way, just so you can not give away his true identity. And, you know, it really is its own worst enemy. I don't know how this got past, like, QC checkers, or if they even bothered to QC check this thing, because, man, they would have been like, yikes. Here again is the first version, and it just looks so much better, right? You can see he's got his arms up. It looks more dynamic, more heroic. I still very much prefer the colors on the old one. I like the deeper blue against the kind of macaroni yellow there. This guy, I don't know, he feels like a knockoff. Like, honestly, that's what he feels like. He feels like, you know, some shady company out there in the world somewhere tried to knock off the real version and, like, got the colors all wrong and made it super floppy. That's what it feels like. Something you'd find at, like, Big Lots. So, yeah, I'm not happy, man. I gotta say, he's pretty terrible. And the fact that he doesn't come with the little prime armor thing, like, even though it's kind of clunky, means he misses out on the greatest feature, getting a jetpack. What spy doesn't want a jetpack? So, yeah, I mean, I think he's just pretty much inferior in every way. I think one small thing I'll give this guy, he has a little bit more color breakup in this mode. Specifically the hands being done in this, like, dark blue against his standard blue, whereas this guy's hands are just the same color as his arms. And then he also gets a little bit of, like, black right there in the torso, which I don't even think was intentional so much as just a difference in, you know, mold layout. Or, well, you know, plastic color layout within the mold. So, I don't know, man. It's very disappointing. I want to like this thing. I want to be able to tell you guys, like, oh, boy, get it. You'll be so happy you did, but it's got so many problems. And now we're bringing our two figures back together. And overall, you know, they look pretty good together, especially in both being in their Decepticon forms, right? You can see them being on a reconnaissance mission or something. But of course, the scale thing rears its ugly head again because you can see Counterpunch is significantly taller than Barricade. And while not every character is going to be the same height and, you know, scale's not always going to be perfect, he's just way too big for the new toy lines. He really is. He's huge compared to these War for Seibertron Deluxes. In fact, he was fairly big for a Prime Wars Deluxe, so that just kind of exacerbates everything. Now, if you really don't care about scale, this won't bother you a bit. This is specifically for people that are trying to get a unified scale thing. You're just not going to get that here. You're just going to have to accept that Punch and Counterpunch are going to be bigger than most of their contemporaries. The good thing about this set, though, is it does have kind of double the play value, because you can either have 2 Decepticons on a team, or you can have a Decepticon chasing down an Autobot fugitive like the packaging blurb alludes to. So now, this comes to the question, should you pick this up? And I think that really depends on your reason for getting it. If you're getting this because you want an Earth Mode Barricade, then sure. Earth Mode Barricade is awesome. I think it's a huge improvement over the Siege one. If you're doing this because you want Punch, oof, and you don't care about the Barricade, I would look elsewhere. I don't know what the original goes for on the secondary market. Hopefully, because this one just came out, the price has gone down a bit. But even if it's more expensive, unless it's something absurd and out of reach, I would put the extra money down on the OG version, because this one just is a shell of its former self. And I really hate that. I hate that they messed the QC up so bad. If the QC was good, I wouldn't even care that the colors were off, right? Because they wouldn't want to just re-release this guy. I mean, not that they wouldn't, because they totally just re-released the Autobot twins. So at least they did something different with this. So I don't feel like I'm buying the same toy twice. But it's not even good. It's so busted and so faulty that I can't enjoy it. I kind of just, I don't even want to put it on the shelf with the others. Normally he'd go, I guess, on the Earthrise shelf, because he's in Earthrise here, but he's going to look so bad compared to everything. Just it's all slouched over and stuff. So, I don't know. If you can stomach the $40 cost for Barricade, then sure, it's worth it. And then maybe you could even sell off your Punch and Counterpunch guy. But if you really do want to get a good Punch toy, I would seriously just track down the prior version. I mean, it's going to be pricey, but if you want something you're satisfied with and you're not just going to hate and regret buying, you should probably get that one. Of course, that is just how I feel about this. Perhaps you agree, perhaps you disagree. Do you think that this set is worth the price given all the QC issues and all the problems? Maybe you're more forgiving of the floppiness than I am, or maybe, if you're lucky, you got a copy that wasn't a big mess like this. If so, I'd like to hear about it. It would be a sigh of relief to know that not everyone's experiencing this problem. Any and all of your feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the new Transformers Galactic Odyssey Criminal Pursuit set. And with all that said, I will see you next time.